Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. If you're looking to spend some money on Magic, this is the video for you.
This is part 2 of the commander cards that are most worth buying right now.
I am your host, Joe Cherries.
I am your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. Happy birthday to everyone whose birthday falls on today, because we make videos every day for everyone's birthday, because unlike most channels, we care about everyone's birthday. Subscribe to the Patreon if you want to support birthdays.
Other ways to support your channel include a TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. Go there. Actually, we're using their prices for this video. You buy the card you were going to buy anyway, and guess what? Guess what? You're supporting the Nitpicking Nerds, spending the same amount of money.
Another way to support the nerds, the last way, is Dragon Shield directly on the site. We have an EU and a US link set up in the description. Go buy straight from the source the sweet, sweet cards that you need to sleeve your sweet, sweet sleeves. Nope. Another way to support the channel, go to dragonshield.com. Don't worry, don't type it out. We have the link in the description for the US or the EU link. Buy the sleeves that will sleeve up the cards you just bought on TCG Player, all while supporting the nerds at no extra cost.
Yeah, all you gotta do is make sure you start with the links in the description, and you will be supporting the Nitpicking Nerds. For this video today, we're talking about cards that are most worth buying right now. If you're gonna spend money on Magic, these cards are great cards to get for the price, and we're talking about this in a lens of Commander, meaning that we think that these cards are the cards you should get for your Commander collection if you're a Commander player.
And for those watching in the future, this is December 2021. I had to double check. But yeah, this is the end of 2021 for these prices. And if you're looking to pick up staples, kind of keep them aside, or if you're looking for sweet tech to put in your decks that are just good cards you're not playing, these are the most underpriced cards right now,
in our opinion.
We're going to start with white cards. The first one here is Heliods Intervention. We hype this card up every single chance we get, but it's still only $2.51. This is one of the best white removal spells ever printed for the format, and the fact that you can get one for so cheap and have it be such a dominating card means that I want as many as I can get my hands on.
The floor of this is really a 4-mana 2-for-1. That's what you're going to see on your Return to Dust, your Crust Contrabands, and then this card just scales up from there and keeps getting better and better. Absolutely the best way to destroy artifact enchantments in white. So I want to have all the ones I can get. It's only $2.51. I'm in, buy all the ones you can get.
And the fact that you can save your butt, let's even say 5% of the time. You can use this to save your own butt, gain 10 life, gain 20 life, whatever. That's huge on a spell that's already so versatile, and that can wipe Plague Wind, take out everything you care about that's opposing you.
Up next, we have a card that I'm just going to let Beezy go off on. It's Seven's Reclamation, and it's currently $3.28.
I will stand by my statement. I don't care if it's controversial to some people. I think this card's better than Cultivate. I think this card does a lot of things differently. With a Toon mana base, which has a bunch of fetch lands in it, this is almost guaranteed to be ramp, especially if it's drawn later in the game. It really only costs 2 since the land comes back untapped, and it has the mode of returning any permanent. So it's versatile. You don't have to return a land. I buffered for a second there. But also, in the late game, copies itself. Or on turn 4 or 5, copies itself. It also feeds into itself. So if you have a fetch land on turn 1, all right, great. Then on turn 3, you get it back with Sevin's Reclamation, which ramps you into casting it for a flashback, which is 5. You can get 2 fetch lands back if you have them, which by itself is already 3 ramps. This card does it all. It is never dead, and I think it's one of the best white cards.
Yeah, I love that it's a ramp spell early in a very strong mana base, and that scaling into the later game, it's going to just be get back 2 of your best permanents that were put in the graveyard this game.
At 3 mana, getting back the land untapped, that is now the same rate as Rampant Growth. And then it has more words on it, and it's white. This card's great.
It is a very strong Magic card. Next, one of the strongest ways to make tokens in white, honestly. Call the Coppercoats, and it's currently $2.40. If you are in a tokens deck, you plan on building a tokens deck, you want to have a collection so that you can put any deck together, you absolutely should call the Coppercoats at $2.40. It's like Secure the Waste, and then it's this for best token makers in white.
It's 0 effort. You don't have to do anything. Your opponents do the things. So if they don't have a board state, you're kind of not going to have a super efficient card, but then anything you play is the only thing on the board because they don't have a board state. And if they do have a board state, any pump effects, overruns, whatever you're about to slam, you fire off an end step, call the Coppercoats, you can literally make, for even just 3 or 5 mana, 15 tokens, untap, pump them in any way, and you're just going to rip people apart and win the game.
Yeah, the great token maker. Next is Dismantling Wave, currently only 50 cents. This is crazy to me. This is a 3 mana, 3 for 1 to start. There's usually just one big target you want to get, and then the other 2 are just completely free. 3 mana 1 for 1s are okay. They're not even the worst in Commander. They're not quite where you want to be, but this is not that. This is the 3 mana, 3 for 1, and then on top of that, it's a board wipe for artifacts and enchantments later in the game that draws a card when you cast it.
And it's uncounterable.
I
really don't get how this card is 50 cents. It was from a Commander product, so all those cards kind of on even footing in terms of number of times they've been printed. This is like top 3 cards from any Strixhaven deck, so I don't know what's keeping it down. But pick up, I don't think anyone would regret picking up 10 of these because I think it's almost a white staple depending on how many colors you're playing.
It is just a white staple.
Yeah, it just depends on how many colors you're in. But I don't know if people are overlooking it because maybe the cycling cost is bad. That rate is not something I'm excited about. But it's just free value tacked onto an amazing already answer to a bunch of different permanents. So maybe just overlook the cycling. It's free value. Sometimes you'll do it. Most of the time you get a 3 for 1 for 3 mana and feel amazing about it.
I think I know why this one's only 50 cents, and it's great for us. Fierce Guardianship is in the exact same precon because it was the one Gavi deck.
Jeskai Cycling.
Yeah, the Jeskai Cycling deck, and it had Fierce Guardianship, and it also had the Dismantling Wave in it. Keeping it low. Get them now. Card is great.
Oh, yeah, I misspoke earlier. This is the Ikoria, not the Strixhaven precons, but the next one, Elish Norn. Kind of an expensive card to see on here. This is $18.80, except the effect you get is pretty freaking good. It's a buff to your team and a minus to everybody else. It's a 4 power difference in everything on the entire battlefield. You are going to lose 0 combats. You're going to mess up everybody else. It's static removal. They can't stop it once it hits. This card has kind of floated around this price, but it's been higher. And this isn't just any Elish Norn.
Yeah, exactly. This is the Phyrexian Elish Norn from the Secret Lair. Absolutely 100% probably the coolest looking one. It's not as collectible or as the Judge promo, which is obviously more collectible because it's been printed more, but it is absolutely, I think, just the best looking Elish Norn we have, and be able to get it for $18 is so worth it. This is such a staple white card in Commander. You want to have one in your collection for when you build the deck that wants it. For $18, I'm getting it. And if you want to get a foil, it's only $21.13. This awesome printing is absolutely 100% worth the $18. And the card itself, the effect in Commander, if it wasn't even a cool looking one, is worth it. You add in that it looks absolutely amazing and has an awesome Phyrexian text. I am 100% in for $18. Me and BZ ordered all the Praetors, actually.
Yeah, get them while everybody's ripping open these Praetor boxes. They're just flying off the shelves. Everybody wants Praetors. Everyone's getting Praetors now, and there's just a million around. So pick them up now before you regret it, and they're like $40 again.
Yeah, especially
for the foil.
The main one is Elish Norn. I can do with. You don't have to play any of the other Praetors in Commander.
And we don't really play them.
We don't play them too much. Elish Norn, she's just too good. She's too good not to play in Commander, and I will be shocked. The day that she's finally not good enough for Commander will be a sad day for me.
I don't know. I think it's coming. She's not. I think she's in the middle of the pack in terms of Commander cards. She's not like a top-tier card, but she's a really good middle card. Number 6 is a recent card. It's Mantle of the Ancients from the D&D precons. It's sitting at $1.44. I'm comparing this to the similar cards. I'm not going to really count Replenish, but Retether is a similar effect. It's janky. It's super niche. It only returns auras, but it's the same effect. It's like $7, and Mantle of the Ancients is better. It is an aura. You can recur this and flicker it more easily to get more uses, tutor it. I think this card's really, really freaking good, and if I have any inkling at all, any idea of an auras deck, I'm going to pick up like 3 of these, or one of them at least, just to have, because it's going to be insane.
110%. This is Retether, like you said, is this niche, like corner case card where if you're in the super auras deck, you want it, and it's $7. Mantle of the Ancients is just 10 times better. If you're playing, you could be playing an equipment deck and want this, because this returns equipment as well as auras. This card is absolutely stellar. I am in for this card, $1.40. It is going to be a staple going forward of the aura and equipment decks, so I will not be surprised to see this as $5, $6, $7, $8 next year.
Let's move to the blue cards. This one is Ghostly Pilferer. This is the bulkiest bulk $0 card. It is 24 cents. I don't know if it was anything before, but it just got reprinted in a Commander Precon. And I've just started to kind of try this card out, and it's way better than it looks. This card is actually really solid, especially when you play it early. It draws off of everybody's commander, and it can be unblockable. It can discard cards. Like, those are nice little abilities to have. But that main mode of just it's going to replace itself, it's kind of like a really bizarre version of Mystic Remora, where it only draws off commanders. But it's going to sit there, and if you don't do anything, the player who played Ghostly Pilferer is going to get a bunch of advantage.
Yeah, exactly. This is a niche card, I will say that. This doesn't go in just any blue deck anywhere. You want to make sure you care about the creature type, just having a body on the field. You need to be maybe discarding cards.
Damage.
If you have something that you care about in your deck, this card is actually surprisingly good. It looks like poop, and I remember seeing it when I was first out, and like, this doesn't look good at all. And like, drawing the card, it's like, yeah, you'll draw sometimes, but is that really worth it? Well, it is, especially if you ever draw this early. It could draw potentially 2 cards, which is absolutely insane. And you just have this little beater that can get in.
Yeah, what happened was I saw this, and I'm like, why? This is the same exact text as Key to the City. That card is just filler. It's whatever. It doesn't go in many decks. But it's got extra text on it, and that definitely pushes it over.
Yeah, exactly. Next blue card is Time Warp. It's $11.87. Extra turn effects are absolutely amazing, and this is the standard. This is like the absolute, like, when you think of an extra turn effect, this is the gold standard for what you expect.
I'm going to say it's the silver standard because we've had better. Like, I'm looking at Time Walk over there, like, that's the gold standard because it's stupid. Well, this is like the standard.
The
like,
gold,
this is a standard card.
The gold standard for Commander, I'll say that.
Yeah. Extra turn cards are getting more and more expensive, and I don't think we're even really going to see them at 5 mana anymore. We're looking at Alrund's Epiphany kind of busting the format open, and that's like, in Commander, that's just mediocre at best. But Time Warp effects in general, like any of them, have a lot of tempo advantage in Commander, even though sometimes they're looked at differently with how much time is this going to take, what kind of deck are you playing. But in any deck, like, let's just even say you're a fair beatdown creature deck, this is insane. You get a whole extra turn with all your resources, planeswalkers, creatures attacking, evasion, and it just provides so much advantage that it ends up being mostly a free roll, and your deck is 1 less card, and you just take an extra turn.
Exactly. You can. This is a card you can almost put in any deck, and there's going to be loops with it. I mean, Eternal Witness just goes crazy with this.
It does.
There's plenty of ways to get instants and sorceries back from your graveyard. The key to like why Time Warp is so much better than a lot of the new ones is this doesn't exile itself. These just end up in the graveyard. And even better with Time Warp, for $13.16, which is only about $1.50 more, you can get the cool Mystical Archive version, which looks absolutely stunning. I would suggest getting a Time Warp now. It's just literally, if you have a blue deck, you can throw this in and it'll just be good. That's how good Time Warp is.
Time Warp really pulls its weight. If you're playing fast, I don't think you have to worry about a one-off Time Walk prolonging the game as much, especially if you're proactive. I really don't think it's that big of a detriment to the player's time percentage allocation, so I would definitely pick up Time Warps.
Up next is a card that we've come around on and absolutely love in Commander now. It's Dothi Voidwalker, $7.83, 100% worth it. This is, if it might be the best hate bear in the format, if you're not talking about CDH especially,
which we're not.
So Dothi Voidwalker is absolutely bonkers. If a counterspell ever gets cast, pull those things out, all of a sudden you have a counterspell sitting on the battlefield that everyone has to worry about until it's gone. This also is hating out graveyard decks. I am absolutely a huge fan of Dothi, and $8 is well worth it.
Yeah, it's not like, I don't think it's going to stop players from casting their really good spells into it, because they still want the effect from it, and not casting it's way worse than maybe the person who has Dothi will cast it, so they're still going to play them, and then you get to cash this in for a spell that's better than Dothi, except you still got the whole static of exiling all their fetch lands and all this crap, and they just can't synergize with their graveyard. I just played against this today, and it double time walked me. I literally had to go pass, because I couldn't do anything with it out.
Dothi is it's crazy. It's a 2-mana Leyline of the Void.
Yeah,
I mean,
with more text.
That effect is crazy strong. It is incredible, and it's an unblockable threat. This threat cannot be blocked. You can get in for 3 damage. You can attack planeswalkers. You get to leave it untapped when you want to cast a spell. It cheats mana for any big thing that was cast. Dothi just does it all.
Yeah, I feel like the fair, maybe non-Modern Horizons version of this card makes you have to cast it with mana of any color, but this is like, now you can have it.
No, yeah, this card is absolutely insane. Get one now.
Yeah, let's go to the next one. It's a surprising one. You might not expect to see Demonic Tutor on this list, but Demonic Tutor is $32.47. That is the highest one on here, except when we compare it to the old price of Demonic Tutor, which I looked at and went, yeah, it's a tough price, but I have to pay it. It was like $60, maybe more, depending on when the peak was. This card is one of the best tutor effects in the format. It's probably one of the best cards in the format. It's the most powerful thing you can do in Commander, not close. And the fact that it's less than 60, which is a price I went, okay, means I'm thinking this is a good deal.
Demonic Tutor is literally good in any single power level. No matter what deck you build or how you build it, adding a Demonic Tutor will just make it stronger. Now, is that to say that you should put Demonic Tutor in all your black decks and it's not to include? No, because it's not all about power in Commander, and there are times. But we're talking about this from a power perspective, and when you're spending your money, are you getting the power worth? Yeah, 110%. This is $32 good. It's always your best draw. It's pay 2 mana, draw your best card out of your deck. That's just worth it. And on top of that, if you want to get an awesome Bolas Art Mystical Archive Demonic Tutor, guess what? It's only $35. So worth it.
Yes, tutors get exponentially worse the more mana they cost because it starts to be a tempo black hole. You can have your best card, but is it worth 5 extra mana? No, it's not. That's terrible. You tutored, that's a good effect. 5 mana, increasing ambition? No, you just can't. Like, let's say with Demonic Tutor, I can grab Soul Ring, cast it, and then boom, tap for mana, and then I'm up mana next turn because I paid 3 mana for a Soul Ring. If you pay Diabolic Tutor, you're on 5 mana Soul Ring. That is not a card that I would even now want to tutor for. So the card you have to get, there's like a much smaller range of cards you can get that are still quote-unquote worth it. And Demonic Tutor just gets it all. It is absolutely stellar. Grim Tutor, 1 more mana. Barely playable. Like, nobody really plays that card, especially in higher power.
Yeah. A funny thing happened recently is BZ played the Luven Primordial, Flashback of Friends, Diabolic Tutor, and in my head, that was bad. It wasn't good, even though he was getting the same effect because he was cheating the mana, so it didn't matter. But, like, because the card is so, like, removed from anything that's good in my head, him flashing it back wasn't good, even though it was amazingly strong.
Yeah, don't get the idea that all tutors are good. It definitely depends on the tutor, from tutor to tutor basis. Next, red cards. This first one is dirt cheap, and I have no idea why, but we're going to reap the benefits. Fiery Confluence is $1.18. You get to choose 3 modes. You either ping every creature for 1, ping every opponent for 2, or destroy an artifact. So it can destroy 3 artifacts. It can wipe the board of X3s or less. And it just has so many different modes and knobs and dials you can turn. Even as a burn spell, like a janky burn spell late in the game, you can take people out with this. I think this card is fantastic. One of the better red removal spells, period. And it's $1.
Yeah, I think the versatility of this card is just what makes it so good. There's so many good choices. Destroying artifacts, obviously very good. Wiping out, up to 3 toughness creatures. And you get to mix and match these to be the best you can. It's almost always going to be destroy 3 artifacts. That's like the highest, most pick mode. But there's much more to it to that. Sometimes it's going to be destroy 2 artifacts and get rid of mana dorks, and that's going to feel awesome as well.
Right. Wipe your token board before you can pump them. There's a bunch of things come up, and the other modes are useful. In any high-pressure area, let's say you have 1 key artifact. Well, guess what? I just get 4 free damage, and I won't bother targeting the other artifacts that don't matter. This just puts you under some more pressure, and now the game can change based on that. I just love this card.
Up next, we got Imperial Recruiter, just reprinted in Modern Horizons 2, $5.69. This card is absolutely stellar, and its counterpart is not cheap. It is Imperial. No, it's not Imperial. It's
Recruiter of the Guard.
Recruiter of the Guard. And that card is expensive because, it wasn't printed as recently, and it's more scarce. This card is absolutely amazing. You want to get it, it's $5.69. Nice. Because it's such an awesome, awesome tutor.
Yes, and we did just say that 3-mana tutors are not very good. The key difference here, this is a creature. This has an ETB. It is reusable. It is recurable. It is reducible cost-wise more easily. It's part of toolboxes now. Sorceries don't do that. This is a lot more than it looks like, and this card is freaking good. And I was surprised it ever went below like 18, because in my head, this is, first in my head, this was a $210 card. Then in my head, it was like a $30 card, and I still can't, it still feels like that much value. It's not like, $6. I feel like I'm cheating when I pay $6 for this.
Yeah, you can honestly never underestimate the difference of putting an effect on a creature. It's completely bonkers. This effect, if a 3-mana sorcery that does this is an unplayable piece of trash.
Yeah, oh my god.
But a creature that does it is completely insane. It attacks, it blocks, it's flickered, it gets reanimated. There's 1,000,010 things that you can list that it does better than a sorcery.
Easiest comparison probably that everyone can understand is Regrowth versus Eternal Witness. Which one is better? It is Eternal Witness.
By about 10 miles.
On to the green cards. The first one I feel like has ended more games of Commander than everybody gives it credit for. It's always the thing that kicks things off and puts you in the ground. It's Selvala, Heart of the Wild. She's sitting at about $10 even, and this just does everything. I hate how good this card is. You pay green, and then she taps for your biggest creature's mana, but you get to make it any combination, just whatever combination is best for you. And she always adds 2, so she's always tapping for 1 positive because she's a 2/3. Not to mention, if you're playing the beefiest, biggest creatures, you get to draw more cards off of it, and this just, there's no cap. You have 10/10, you just get 10 mana, and you just get to run wild.
She is the Heart of the Wild, so I guess that makes sense. Regardless, even if you're not getting the draws are great, and you do get some decent draws out of this card when you're playing the biggest, splashiest deck. I am playing a +1/+1 counters deck in Helena and Alana, and oh my god, this card never draws a card, but it makes 10 million mana because it's so good. The mana production is what makes this card absolutely insane.
There's cards, I mean, it's good in almost any green creature deck, but there's commanders that just make it mind-blowingly insane. There's like Skullbriar, Helena Elena, Xenagos, all these different things that care about power. Anything like Galta, you're just vomiting value over and over. And the problem with Selvala usually is that the first time she gets activated, and if you don't kill her right away, first thing she does is power out something better than her or more pressing than her. And then you kill that, but she just powers out something else, and you're going to have to deal with that. It's so tough to find a spot to answer Selvala if it's not right away.
Yeah, she's an absolute house.
All right, I keep talking about this card, and it's still underpriced, so I'm still going to keep talking about it. Pattern of Rebirth, $5.32. Maybe people aren't reading it, but anyway, it's a 4-mana aura. You slap it on a creature. When the creature dies, you go get any creature, period, and just put it in play. This cheats mana. It cheats timing sometimes. If you have a sacrifice outlet, you can find, mix and match. It works with toolboxes. It can win the game if you're trying to be competitive. This card is nuts to me, and I don't see how it's so cheap.
Yeah, and there's a million ways, there's not a million, but there's multiple creatures that can bring back the pattern when they enter the battlefield, meaning that if your creature dies, you can get back the pattern and just keep getting value over and over again.
This checks all the boxes that any tutor would check, so I understand if you're hesitant to play this if you don't like tutors, because obviously it's a tutor effect, but whether you're playing fair and going to grab a Craterhoof Behemoth for 4 mana, it's just nature's, it's just natural order, but it's better in some ways. So it's either you're going to go grab a Craterhoof, win the game, or I can go grab a Protean Hulk, sacrifice it, win the game. Or just play Boomweaver Giant, and then just go find Pattern of Rebirth, sacrifice the Boomweaver Giant, and start a chain that wins the game. This does a lot of different things. Even if you're not trying to win, just go get a removal spell. Go get a blocker. I don't know. Go get an Eldrazi Titan and then attack with it at the end of the turn.
Yeah, this is just insanely strange. It is surprisingly low. It's not like this has been printed into the ground or anything. This has like 2 printings ever, and it's $5.32, and it should be a Commander staple. If it's not, it should be.
It's going up. It was, we've talked about this since it was like $2.70, I think, is when we first started. It's now, basically double that, and I think it's just going to keep trending up. So for now, definitely still worth buying.
Yes. And next we have a new card, Druid of Purification. It's currently $5.96. This is one of the best screen removal spells we have now, especially if you care about creatures in any way. This is a 4-for-1 almost every time. Your opponent sometimes might make deals and not choose each other's stuff, but that's actually kind of disadvantageous for them to do unless they really, really have something crazy that they want to keep. This card is great. It's a 4-mana 4-for-1 on a body. It has it's a 3/3.
It's a 4/3.
It's a 4/3. It's even better. I mean, this card, it's not even that its body is bad. Is it 3/4 actually? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's up on screen. You guys actually the power toughness.
7 total power and toughness.
7 total power and toughness sitting on the screen right now. It gives it a decent body. It's not like this is a 1/1. It actually attacks and blocks pretty decently.
And it barely even matters. Even if it was a 1/1, this would still be on here and it'd still be underpriced. This card looked amazing, and I couldn't wait to play with it. Now we've tested it enough. It's like better than Reclamation Sage. I mean, I think about how good Reclamation Stage is.
A staple.
And I think this card is just better than that. I think every single time this will basically outperform that card, which is mind-blowing. And because it's a rare and it's way scarcer than the uncommon printed 7 times Reclamation Sage, I think I want to scoop these up, which we have already, for future Commander decks, because I can just see this going way up once people realize, wait a minute, this is insane.
This card is, 110%. This card is insane, as you said.
All right, we got one multicolor card, and then we're going to get to some lands. But first, it's Cloud Swill, another new card in the same deck as that one. 40 cents. I'm not even complaining here. I understand why this is like not that much money. It's a red-green card. Sometimes the gold cards don't get as high as the other ones, but I think even if this never goes up 1 cent, I want 5 on standby for any red-green deck I build. This card, it does a lot of things. We look at Heliods Intervention. It's 1 more mana for the same choice, right? So it's already Heliods Intervention for 1 extra mana, so you're going to get 1 less target. But the other mode isn't gain life. It's wipe the board.
It's much, much more relevant, and that's what makes this card actually match up with Heliods Intervention.
And you can do both.
Well. Yeah, you can absolutely do both. You can basically wipe everything off the board except for your artifacts and enchantments. You just want this card when you're playing red-green. 40 cents is extremely cheap. And like you said, this might not spike, and it might not go up, but it is so worth buying because having it around for when you build the deck that wants it is going to be... It's just, you want it. You're going to be like, oh, man, it's $1 now? I should have bought Klaus Will when it was 40 cents 2 months ago.
Yeah, and this isn't even just most buying because we're trying to speculate and spike and get the market value. It's like most buying because you need them for your decks. You're going to need 3 of these if you keep building decks. Time for the 17th entry on this list out of 20. It's Cabal Coffer. It's a very similar entry to Demonic Tutor because Cabal Coffers used to be literally $60, and everyone was still scooping them up because everyone needed it for their mono black and 2-color black decks.
Yes, Cabal Coffer is an absolute staple of Commander, and because of Modern Horizons and 2, and how many in-demand cards there are from that set, cards like Cabal Coffers that are only Commander cards are taking a bit of a dip. This card is insanely good in Commander. It belongs in a ton of decks. If you're playing mono black, you absolutely 110% want this. It goes crazy. It makes Expedition Map more playable. That's how crazy. It's like the third or fourth best land in the whole format.
It's up there. I think it's top 5. It's $19.38, by the way. We really slow rolled that one. It's kind of, you put it in a spell slot in like 2 and 3 color decks, and it combos with Urborg. If you have Tutors in your deck, it's going to happen a lot of the time. This card does not mess around. It is, in my opinion, borderline unfun just because of how much it stagnates, homogenizes mana bases, and because it's just so good, you build around it in deck building, and then you get paid off in gameplay without almost any downside. And I think this kind of connects into the next one, so I'll let you tackle that one.
Yeah, the next one is actually, you know how when you play Cabal Coffers, you're really hoping you have Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth out. Well, what if the exact same thing existed but in green? Would that be a good Magic card? The answer is yes, and it's called Yavamaya, Cradle of Growth, and it is $10. I think this is like the exact same thing as why Cabal Coffers is so low. Modern Horizons 2, been opened a lot. There's a lot of in-demand cards. They're worth a ton of money. Yavamaya is not one of them. $10 for Yavamaya is so worth it. Urborg's been printed 3-4 times now.
No, it's like been printed 5 times, and some of them were recent with these high, huge print runs. It's $30 still.
Yeah, it's $30, and Yavamaya, I will eventually make its way up to that. This is an absolute 100% super staple of the format. I think it's a slightly worse than Urborg because green is better at fixing.
And also, there's not a Cabal Coffers in green.
And there's not a Cabal Coffers in green. It is slightly worse. It's not $20 worth. It's 100% worth the $10. You can just put this in every one of your green decks. As soon as you play it, you're fixed for green for the rest of the game. You don't care if you fix your opponents for green because now it lets you do more with your mana base.
There's plenty of small upsides that we've talked about countless times, so we're not going to run
Forest Walk.
Yeah, we're not going to run those back. But the fact that this is a forest, but better, that fixes your mana, has 85 different little tiny upsides, and is just a literal free roll in seriously every green deck that's ever been built. This is one of the 10 best lands in the format, and $10 is ludicrously low for how good this card is or how useful it is, sort of secretly useful.
Does your deck play green? Okay, put in Yavamaya. Does your deck play black? Put in Urborg. It is literally that simple, and I don't even mind like if we get more of these because actually when you print all 5, it actually makes it more interesting when you put them in your deck because now in your 5-color deck you're not going to put in everyone. That's not really how it's going to work. But I absolutely am a huge fan of Yavamaya and Urborg. Just get Yavamaya for $10.
These are kind of lands, and you may have heard us talk about them before. These are the Mythic MDFC lands, but we're only going to talk about 2 specifically because we think 2 of them are like the better deals than the rest. But obviously, all 5 of them are very good Magic cards. Turn Timber Symbiosis. This is the green one. It's $2.50. It's the lowest price of all of them. So if you still have held out for like, I don't know how long we've been preaching this, 6 months or something. If you've held out this whole time and you're like, wait a minute, they're actually good, you can still pick up Turn Timber Symbiosis for like nothing.
It's $2.50 for an Mythic MDFCs. And this is just like Yavamaya, but only for 1, 2, and 3 color decks. Turn Symbiosis can just go in every single one of my 1, 2, and 3 color decks that are playing green. It's 100% in the 1 and 2 color, and then sometimes for the 3 color. This card is absolutely insane. Now, the one I want to preach about
Here we go. Get on your soapbox.
100% Agadim's Awakening, which is the most expensive of them at $14.96. It does not matter. This card is absolutely insane. It is an effect that, one, you really don't get anywhere else. This effect doesn't even exist. This isn't a Magic card like Turn Timber Symbiosis is kind of a thing we've seen before. Look at the top 6. Get a creature, put it in play. We've seen that card before. We've not seen Agadim's Awakening. This is a land, 85% of the time, that can win you the game on the other side. That is bonkers. The other ones are good, and they're strong, and they can put you in good positions. Agadim's Awakening can just win the game. If the game is dragged out and your graveyard is filled, all of a sudden you return 5, 6, 7 creatures to the battlefield, and with your land, you are now in the driver's seat because you just made a good choice with the land. I literally would put this almost up to like 4 color decks, and I'm going to put it in every one as long as I have a decent creature count.
The thing about Agadim's Awakening that might help people realize, you look at the percentages of, how often do you play it as a land, which is virtually a free roll, and how often do you play it as a spell. For the other 4 of them, I would say, it's about 90% land, 10% spell. But Agadim's Awakening, even if it was, let's say it's 70% land, 30% spell, that is a much higher rate, which means because the spell is so much better and so much more useful that you're like actively, I'll hold it. Maybe I'll miss a land drop because I want Agadim's Awakening. The choices are endless, and it's never bad. It is literally just a never bad card.
Yeah, I think it is worth $15 by a mile. When this card's $30, maybe I'll tell you to stop buying it because that's when it's it's a little high price. 100%. This card is absolutely just an auto-include in 1 and 2 color, and I'm auto-including it in 3 colors. As long as my deck has creatures, I am auto-including it in all my 3 color decks that involve black.
The only thing Agadim's Awakening is going to appear on now is the I told you so video when this thing is unaffordable. There's only one cycle left to talk about. It is the Crowdlands from Commander Legends. My mental snapshot of these was way higher than what they actually are. I'll read the prices off here. Vault of Champions, the black-white one, $6. Trading Center, the blue-red one, $6. Green-black one, Undergrowth Stadium, $7. Spectator City, the red-white, $5.50. And Rejuvenating Springs, the blue-green, $7.30. These are all some of the best duels that have ever been printed for the entire format. It literally goes like duels, fetches, and then you're basically at the Crowdlands. Less than $10? Snap them up, baby. Give me all the ones I can get.
Absolutely. And we don't know how often they're going to reprint these. We've seen it with the Battlebound ones. It's been 2.5, 3 years now, and Battlebound ones haven't been reprinted once.
Best we got was like the weird Zendikar things.
A meaningful reprint.
Exactly,
I guess is what I meant. We're just not seeing them, and because of that, it just makes me want to get these now and make sure I have them in my collection so that when I'm building a deck, these are some of the first lands that go in. You do your fetches, you do your shocks, you do maybe some utility lands, then these, and that's it. These are never not making your deck because in Commander you always have the ideal way to play Commander is to have 3 opponents, and when you sit down, that's what you're looking to do. That means they come on untapped every single time.
You don't even need 3 opponents. You only need 2. Even if you're playing a less ideal version of pickup game, it's still just always functional. It's only not functional in 1v1, and a lot changes when you're playing Commander 1v1. So these cards are utter staples. It's not even close. I don't think it's debatable that these cards are staples. Some of the best lands you can get, and at only a couple dollars more than $5, in some cases $5.50. We already have full playsets of these sitting in our staples binders.
Yeah, $7.30 is the most expensive one. That's the most expensive one. It's worth it.
I'd be willing to pay $10, $11.
Exactly. I think something that is underestimated for Commander is having your mana bases ready to go. That's something me and BZ have always done and preached to do. We literally we pick up all the staples for lands as they come out. We bought all the new ones that just came out, the
slow duels,
and we put them away so that when we're building a commander deck, sure, we'll have to pick up some cards here and there because
some utility lands.
But like the base, the land base, the color lands, and the fixing, we just have because they're worth always having, so that you don't have to run around and find your mana base. But enough about lands. That is our video. Special shout outs to all of our patrons. Love you as much as you can without making you uncomfortable. Thank you all for the support. Seriously, you guys make this channel possible.
And if supporting is something you love to do, if you just can't get enough of supporting anyone and anything, choose us and go to the link in the description for TCG Player. You get to support yourself too, so it's really like double support because you buy cards from the site for a normal price, same as always, except because you started with our link, we get a kickback on the order. And the same is true for Dragon Shield sleeves, best sleeves in the multiverse, good sleeves. Buy them in the EU or the US links that we've provided for you. Boom, kickback for the affiliate nerds.
Yes, we would appreciate that very much, and you're going to get a product that is absolutely stellar. Wow. Ha! Ah, apparently stuttering at the end of videos is the best thing that we can do. Yeah, these cards are all awesome, and I hope that you guys look at them and say, yeah, those are worth buying.
Yeah, I hope so. I want to check. I haven't yet, but I will be cross-referencing the first worth buying video to see if any of them went up or down or how that actually worked. And I'd love to check in a year or so, but I definitely know what our tidbit is because the Nitpicking Nerds have hit a financial milestone, Cherries.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There seems to be a consensus that we were a large reason that a card spiked, which is Ritual of the Machine. We had it in a recent video, and we're like, this is a reserve list card? It's $10, and it's really good? We got to pick up some copies, and now it's $25. It is more than doubled in price, and it seems to be it just seems that a lot of people both, MTG Marketplace or whatever that it's called.
Yeah.
I'm not positive. I don't follow MTG Marketplace, but apparently they said it, and also we've seen a lot of comments. My Eyes. Yeah. Comment on My Eyes, and they said it.
It just sort of correlates perfectly, and it's not. I'm not going to say it's positive or negative. I'm going to give the best advice I can.
It feels good.
If people want to listen to the advice and buy cards, I'm not. It's not like I'm ruining the card. It's just like, hey, that's a cool thing. I'm not glad the card is more expensive and people aren't going to be able to afford it, but I'm glad people are listening to our advice and agree with us.
Yeah, we offer our opinion on a format that is extremely complex, meaning our opinion is not perfect. It's not infallible, and we can definitely be wrong. And we are wrong. We've made videos about being wrong about cards. And we're just going to do that sometimes. But I find it very cool that in some cases, people listen to us and they say, they all come to like, you know what? The nerds are right in this case. And in the case of Ritual of the Machine, we were absolutely right. Get wrecked, nerds.
Get wrecked, fellow nerds.
Thank you guys for making us feel good. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.